Hello.
Hi,
Can
James.
you can
Yep,
you
I
hear me
can
good?
hear you. Yep. You hear me okay?
Perfect. Yeah.
All right. Give me just a second to make sure I got the right ballots up.
Okay.
Okay, James. Okay, so my understanding is you have 5 minutes is your max. So can you see the timer on your screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so once you start, I'll start the timer so you have just kind of that visual to help you gauge your time, okay?
Awesome. Okay.
Okay, you just let me know when you're ready.
Okay. I'm gonna start. Hello, my name is James Williams, and I chose the topic mutations. Specifically, I will be talking about the facts and the fictions of mutations. To dive right in, genetic mutations in humans occur when the DNA of the said human changes. There are many different factors that can change the DNA of the human. It could be the human's body adapting to a new environment. It could be trauma as an unborn child. That could happen as the mother is being probably an unfit parent. It could happen from drinking, smoking, anything that can harm the child before being born. Or the child, as they're growing into a young adult, to a normal adult, they can develop a genetic mutation. It all depends on the genetics of their family and how they're growing up and their environment. Now, one thing all genetic mutations have in common, or at least most of them have in common, is that they're fairly negative. Some of the most common genetic mutations are mental disabilities. Those stem from trauma as an unborn child, usually. But some genetic mutations are idle. The most common one that I can think of is arcus senilius. This happens when a person has high cholesterol, or as they're an elder, they develop it usually when being treated for diabetes or cancer. Arcus senilius is an idle genetic mutation. It is examined around the eye. It is a dark ring, but there isn't really a cure for it. Once you have it, similar to chickenpox. But there's no real harm to it, but it is linked to high cholesterol. But in public media, such as movies, TVs, or comic books, genetic mutations can be observed in a more positive light. One main example is a TV show called The Good Doctor. This doctor has autism, but in an idle form. He has social anxiety, the doctor, but the social anxiety allows him to unlock different parts of his brain. He becomes smarter, he becomes a more effective doctor. He can solve problems better. But something that is more drastic than the good doctor is the X-Men. They are a comic book superhero team. And in their world, they call genetic mutations, the humans who get these genetic mutations, mutants or metahumans. Like all of these superheroes, they have a negative past that caused them to get this genetic mutation. And after this trauma, they triumph and become a superhero. Now, Arcus senilius is a genetic mutation of the eye. Cyclops, who is a X-Men, he is a mutant. He can shoot lasers out of his eyes. Now, studying both of these genetic mutations, they are very similar in composition. They have very similar chromosome rearrangements, but they are portrayed in a different light. So the main takeaway I want for people to get from this speech is that genetic mutations is very common in humans. It is very common to be a holder of genetic mutations, and that cannot be discouraged because of the positive light that is shown in the public media. Thank you.
Thank you very much, James.
Have a good day. Thank you for
Hmm.
Now, we've all seen the reports, the inevitable upcoming zombie apocalypse. It's only a matter of time, folks. Now, stop there. There are no such thing as zombies. They're imaginary, just like both these films. Really? Is that why the government spent $10 million preparing for it? Really? Yep, you're right. And do you think our government would squander the hard-earned taxes of all these lawyers? The fact that you're already decent sized now will keep the zombies occupied and let the rest of us get to safety. Remember you fondly. Can I take a look ahead to remember you by? You know, I think my life's feeling better. I could probably live from here.
Time. Thank you.
Thanks, Darby.
You see me?
Yes.
Is this a good angle for you?
All I see is your head. If that's what you want me to see, that's okay.
Here. Fix my posture here.
Okay. Yep. Whenever you're ready.
Alrighty. Ready to start? Okay, perfect. Throughout history, infectious diseases have been a constant reminder of the spread of humanity across the world. Even today, we are dealing with outbreaks of the modern era. Hello, my name is Nicole West, and today my topic is death tolls. And here I'll be giving a timeline of some of history's most deadly pandemics. So let's start off with the timeline. Let's start off with history's first recorded pandemic. From year 165 to year 180, with a death toll of 5 million people, is the Antonine Plague, named after the goddess Antonine from Greek literature. I actually wrote a play on her, read a play on her in my Greek English class that spoke about this plague, and it was the first ever recorded plague that ever took place in history. Flash forward a few years, and you have the famous bubonic plague. It first showed up with the Mongols in 1347, and it had a death toll of killed over 200 million people. Of course, that comes with the famous death doctors, right, with their masks, and the famous Ring Around the Rosie song that most kids today play whenever they go. Then, of course, we have the smallpox in 1520, which killed around 56 million people, followed by the 17th century Great Plagues, which is basically just a collection of plagues or pandemics that happened around from the 17th century to the 18th century. Now, the next few include, for example, the HIV virus, which have killed 25 to 35 million people. And that is to present day, of course. The Spanish flu, which killed 40 to 50 million people. The swine flu, which I believe killed 200,000 people. SARS, of course, killed only 770 people. And Ebola, which killed 11,000 people. Finally, ending with the most current virus, of course, the coronavirus, with the death tolls are rising, but are relatively small compared to the most deadly pandemics throughout history. But with the help of doctors and, of course, scientists, we can stop the pandemic, and hopefully we can be prepared for the next pandemic ahead of time. And it will save most of humanity in the future. Thank you so much.
Nice job. Thank you.
Of course, have a good day.
You too.
Hi, I'm Sally Chapel, and today I'm going to be talking about death toll. Death toll is something that's been brought up a lot recently, talking about COVID in the past 7 months in our country. I'm Sally Chapel, and today I'm going to be talking about death toll. I'm going to be bringing up two major points when talking about death toll and COVID. I'm going to bring up how there's small death toll, but there's a lot of effects after you recover from COVID. And I'm also going to be talking about the people that minimize COVID with the numbers of death toll. 99.7%. That's a number we've been hearing a lot, of how 99.7% of people recover from COVID. And this is true, but what is also true is after you recover from COVID, your lungs are weaker and you are going to have a harder time fighting off viruses, and that is going to affect you a lot in your life. And of course, you're not going to die unless you're an older person or you're already immunocompromised and you're more susceptible to sickness. But even if you're not going to die and you recover, you're going to be weaker So these things like being immunocompromised and just being weaker in general, that these people already deal with, you're going to have to deal with too. You're going to have to think about if it's okay for you to go places during flu season or cold season, and you might be more dependent on medicine even after you recover, just because you're going to be weaker. This virus that attacks your lungs is going to affect you even after you've recovered from the virus. And this brings me into my second point about the people that about the people that minimize COVID using the number, I'm going to bring it up again, 99.7%. These people were really active at the beginning of lockdown and COVID as a big deal in the United States, going to protests saying they wanted haircuts, they didn't want to wear masks, and they didn't want more safety mitigations. And these people, again, like I said, they're using the 99.7 number. And they're saying, oh, it's okay, I'm gonna make it. I mean, I would recover. Why should I care about these other people? And this mindset that they have comes from a place of selfishness and privilege of being healthy people. And then this is something which we knew about. I'm talking about the United States, that we knew about, but it was really brought out with this virus. They have the idea that if it's not going to affect them, they don't need to care about it. We also saw this among certain elected officials when they were discussing about sending kids back to school during the pandemic. And this was a really big issue because people were surprised that people that were supposed to care about them and take care of them, that they had elected to do that, were saying things that, oh, it doesn't matter because it's not going to affect me. But in reality, it probably would affect them, because if their child goes to school and their child is in contact with someone else that got COVID, they are going to be more susceptible to COVID. They're going to be more susceptible if they catch it, or they're going to have an inconvenience because they have to quarantine because they're a contact. Or the parent might not be able to go to work because their child was a contact and therefore they are a contact. It just goes to show that the whole mindset that if it doesn't affect me, it's okay, is selfish, and maybe these people will learn, but it's really important in this time to have compassion and think about others more than yourself. Because it really sucks that you can't do everything that you wanted to do. And with the holiday season coming up, you might be sad you won't be able to celebrate Thanksgiving or Christmas with your family, with your extended family. But you have to also think about other people and what's going to be best for them. Thank you for my time. Today I talked about death toll and COVID and how the effects it has on your body, and the people that use it to minimize the virus, and why you should really think for the good of a whole instead of yourself. Thank you.
Alrighty, I believe it is my time. Judge and timer ready, or judge. Hello, my name is Philip Smith, and today I will be talking to you about personal protective equipment. Now, during the time of COVID, we all think of personal protective equipment as a mask, maybe some gloves, but there's actually a lot more to it than that. I am currently in training to become a certified nursing assistant. There's a course through my school that we can train and learn how to do that. And as a CNA, we have to learn all different types of personal protective equipment, from droplet precautions to airborne precautions to contact precautions. And I am going to go over with you how to don and doff personal protective equipment and different types of other personal protective equipment. First off, how to don personal protective equipment. First, you want to do is you want to take your gown and you want to put it on, and first you will wrap the band around your waist and tie it in the back, and then tie it up behind the neck. Once you've put on your gown, you will then put on your mask, and that could be an N95 or a surgical mask. Either way, mask goes second. After you put on your mask, you will then put on your goggles if they are necessary or required. And once that is done, you need to make sure you put on your gloves, and they will go over your cuffs. So they will contain it there, so nothing will go inside of your gown, and that is the goal of that. Now I'm going to go through with you the different types of isolation precautions and why they are necessary. First, I will go through contact precautions. This is for diseases such as MRSA, which is a skin infection that can cause lots of different problems and is very highly contagious. Now, with MRSA, what you need to do is you need to make sure that you have your gown and your gloves. And that is actually all that is necessary in any other year besides a COVID year. Of course, during this year, we would need a mask in a professional setting. And that is only because MRSA is not spread through the air. It is not a droplet precaution. It is all contact through touch. And when caring for someone with MRSA, we always need to, even if we leave and they say come back and we have to go back right in, we always have to put on the gown, put on the gloves, no matter what, even if we've already removed it. We need to go in and make sure we have that. But the mask is not necessary. Next, I will talk about droplet precautions. And this is when you start to need your mask and goggles. And this is for diseases such as COVID and chickenpox. And for this, you don't necessarily need an N95. It is recommended, but you don't need the filtration because it's not an airborne virus. It is spread through droplets. And that is where you would need a gown, gloves, mask, and goggles. Now for airborne spread viruses such as tuberculosis, especially tuberculosis. For this, you will always have a negative air pressure room, and that just means the air pressure is below that of 1 atmosphere, so less than what we would be feeling at sea level. And for that, you will need an N95, goggles, gown, and mask. There are actually some special things with the N95 that you might need to know. If you do have asthma, then you will not be required to have an N95 mask. That is only because you have to be dropped on stuff to be sure that you have the right fitting, and it has to be fitted every single year. And then you'll have a hazmat helmet. Personal protective equipment is very, very important in the medical setting, and all of us, no matter what part you are part of or what role you play in the medical field, you always have to know what types of personal protective equipment are necessary, how to put them on, how to remove them, and which ones are necessary for which situations. And to me, it doesn't make sense how any one person could say it is too difficult to just put on a mask in a time such as this. Because as a medical professional, we have to learn and figure out how to do it every single day of our lives, and not just a mask, but all of the other parts of it. Thank you.
Are you ready for me?
I am. However, you need to, Liam, you need to put yourself behind the podium and then access the video. There you go. Great.
Okay.
Okay, just a moment and get your time set up. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Are you gonna display the timer, or should I keep track of time?
You need to keep track of time on your side, but I have mine here too as well.
All right. I'm gonna start my timer real quick.
Okay.
Okay, ready? My name is Liam Urquhart, and my topic is entertainment. Entertainment comes to everybody in different ways. Some people are entertained by simple things, such as that kick the can game that your parents used to tell you about. And some people with shorter attention spans constantly need keys jingling in front of them in order to keep their attention. People have been entertaining themselves for thousands of years. One of the main ways they would do, well, definitely one of the ways they would do that is by gambling. Up in Canada, the Inuit and Eskimos had a gambling game they would play. They would take two sticks, tie it together, and put a feather in the middle. And then they would skate it across the ice and they would bet on how far it would go. Another way of gambling, which is definitely not as good of a way to gamble, is called Russian roulette. And that was played in times of war in Eastern Europe, where you have a 6-shot revolver, you put one in the chamber, you spin it, and you put it to your head, and you pull the trigger. There's definitely healthy ways of entertaining yourself, and there's unhealthy ways of entertaining yourself. Unhealthy ways that people entertain themselves is by consuming drugs and alcohol, just pumping that stuff into their bodies. But for some people, that's the only way that they can be entertained. Fortunately, though, for a lot of people, they're able to entertain themselves in healthier ways, just like myself. I personally am entertained by going into the woods and hunting with my dad. I enjoy spending time with him and just being out in the woods. I find it relaxing and very entertaining. And a lot of people also find hunting very entertaining. And there's many different ways of hunting. Definitely the most modern way of hunting is by using a rifle, but many people also use bows. And I've always wanted to get into bow hunting, but it can be very challenging but rewarding. Another way that I entertain myself is by working on wood projects. I've been working on a bow so that I can go out and harvest a deer by myself, and I've been shooting my bow every day. Another way that people like to entertain themselves is by fishing. And fishing is very special because for a lot of people, especially in my community, it's a way of entertainment and a way to bring money into their household, such as commercial fishermen or people that set up charters to take other people fishing, entertaining them. Usually when you have one person that's entertaining themselves, it's easy for them to entertain other people too. My name is Liam Urquhart, and that's entertainment.
Nice job, Liam. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Do I just step down now?
Yep, and then you're going to go ahead and turn off your camera. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
So Avi, is that what you call? Avi. Okay. All right. So I'm going to keep time on my side. You can keep time on your side. And just let me know when you are ready to go.
All right, I'm ready. Hello, my name is Avinda Cook, and I'm here to talk to you about quarantine. Now, I could probably go on and on about how quarantine has sucked for me and how it has been awful, but instead, I'm actually going to talk to you about some good things that have actually happened and come out for me. So in the beginning of quarantine, my cheer state was canceled and I was very bummed. I had to come home and quarantine for 2 weeks, and I honestly didn't like it. But after that, since I live in such a small town, the quarantine was able to be lifted and I was able to go to work. And I actually met a very close friend of mine now, and he has honestly been amazing, and I'm so happy that I was able to meet him. And I don't think I would be able to unless quarantine happened. Not only that is I've been able to try new things that I know that a lot of other people have, such as cutting and dyeing their hair. I've personally cut and dyed my hair twice already, and I'm about to dye it again, and I'm really excited for it. But not only that, people have been able to have new passions, and I know personally I have grown a passion for drawing and painting native art more than I already have, and I've done so many projects over quarantine, and it's been an amazing time and an amazing experience because I've been able to grow closer to my culture, and it has been so much fun. And I know that many other people have been able to grab more passions than they normally would and try new things that they didn't think they would ever try. And it's all due to quarantine because they can't really go out and do things with other people, so they've been able to do things for themselves, and I think that is an amazing thing to be able to do. So I hope that quarantine isn't all bad for everyone else, and I hope that you can find good things in it yourself. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Party is the ship, all else is the sea. While Republican support had died off in the mid-1900s, as I mentioned, it has experienced a huge resurgence throughout the late 1900s and up until now, especially with Donald Trump being our president, although probably not after this election. So that leads me right into my next point, which is that Trump has done great things for the Black community. We all know that Trump's tax cuts have done great things for the U.S. A lot of people love them. They've given a lot of people much lower income taxes, and this has specifically helped the Black Americans. According to an article posted on July 4th, 2020 by the New York Post, Trump's tax cuts gave Black people the best economy they had seen in decades, I think since the 1960s. You cannot debate the fact that Trump helped our economy grow exponentially, not just in the Black community, but throughout all of America. He grew our economy greatly, and he did it more than any president we've seen in our history. And for Black communities, this meant more money, lower income taxes, more stable businesses, and more stable lives overall. This also reduced the Black unemployment rate exponentially, which was a great thing for them. And I'm just going to say a quick thing about Biden, which was that actually back in 1994, Biden, the next presidential candidate of this election, who's probably going to become the president, was one of the people who enacted the 1994 crime law. This law incentivized many local prisons to lock up as many Black Americans as they could. Obviously, that's a very bad thing for the Black community. It's not a good thing at all. So, I mean, that's just not great. It doesn't make the Black community feel safe, and it's a terrible thing to do. According to CNN, which is actually often very democratically biased, it's very for the Democratic Party, it's a very Democratic news channel. According to CNN, we also know that Biden has said things like, if you ain't Black, or if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. So what is he implying by saying that? That's a terribly racist thing to say, honestly, to people who are Black, especially since Trump this year gained a significant number of Black voters from the 2016 election. Democrats often accuse, as I said before, Republicans of being the racist ones for not supporting Biden, and in turn, they imply that by not supporting Biden, you don't support Black Americans. But I just have to question how people can say that when you have a candidate who has said something like, or who has actually said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black, which again is something very racist. We also know that Democrats support BLM, but BLM it's a rather controversial topic. Their message is that they support equality in the U.S. and equality with white people and Black people. Honestly, I don't think BLM is a great movement. I think the agenda of BLM is much different than what they actually are advertising, and that is that, they want to make America a much better place for most people. This is according to heritage.org. So I'm just going to finish up by saying that Republicans have historically helped Black Americans. Trump has done great things for the Black community. Biden and the Democrats are often the actual people who are being racist. And that is why the Democratic Party has failed Black America, but the Republican Party has not.
Thank you, Matthew. You're at 7:05. I think there is a grace period, but I'll check with the organizers. And
Do I just leave?
I guess so.
Hi, I just want to make sure I'm giving you time. I think that this room ran behind. So if you want time to write down notes or something, I'm happy to wait. Just let me know, but I'm ready whenever. Thank you.
Okay. I'm actually all set. Thankfully, doing digital notes is quite efficient. So would you like any time signals before we begin?
Yeah, sure. I think probably when it's a minute or 30 seconds or something like that, just let me know to the end of my time.
Okay.
So, but nothing extreme. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, this is Britta again. Before I got kicked out of the session, I was judging Caleb, and he was almost done with his speech, and the volume went out, and that's why this whole thing started and how Shelby got in here in the first place. I asked Caleb to come back at 5:20 because I didn't get the last about 25 seconds of his speech because I could not hear him. So he is coming back, and I wanted to make sure I caught you. I went and talked to James, and then he was like, no, you can't judge it anymore because now Shelby has the ballot. He is still coming.
Okay, I think I see that. Is Caleb in the room? No, Caleb's not in the room right now.
But he probably will because he definitely did not get judged. I could not evaluate him because I did not have the ability to I couldn't hear him.
Okay, thanks for the heads up. And
Thank you so much for taking over. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. My computer's going haywire. This poor little boy had delivered most of his speech when it went out, and yeah.
Okay.
So thank you.
Okay, thanks for the heads up. And okay. Hava, ready when you are.
The conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh has been widely known to be proxied by Russia, and I believe that this conflict has shown deficiencies in the Russian military. In past weeks, in the past, I think about a month and a half, the conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh has escalated between the ethnic Armenians who are technically in power over the region, and then Azerbaijan, which is also technically in power of the region. So this conflict has been escalating for the past 6 or so weeks. And just a couple days ago, there was actually a peace treaty, a ceasefire between Russia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia that ended the conflict for the moment. And this ceasefire ended in a point where Azerbaijan had taken a lot of land from the ethnic Armenians and displacing a lot of Armenians who are leaving the region, evacuating their homes. And the Russians took both sides in some ways, as well as only taking one side, but they primarily took the Armenian side. And I believe that that is why this is a sign of Russian military. First of all, I would like to go into how Russia was involved in this conflict. Then I would like to talk about how Russia is involved in other conflicts around the region. And then I would like to talk about what this means for Russia's military and what this means for the region as a whole. So first of all, the Russian influence in that region, and specifically in the Nagorno-Karabakh region, has really greatly changed the way this war has come around. Russia is giving Azerbaijan weapons while also backing the Armenians in the region. And I think that that together really fuels this conflict. And in this place where Russia pretends to be the peacemaker, I don't think that Russia is actually doing that. They're fueling both sides and therefore increasing the conflict. So in Russia's involvement in this region and in this conflict really shows how Russia finds the need to stay involved in these regions that they used to have control over. And in this specific conflict, in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, it's clear that Russia lost in many ways by losing a lot of the ethnically Armenian land. And I think that that right there just shows the deficiencies that even a Russia-backed country can still partially lose in that regional conflict. And next, of course, Russia, in many of its other conflicts around that region, has shown deficiencies as well. In other places in Armenia and Azerbaijan, Russia has been deeply involved in conflicts where there are ethnically different groups of people who feel alienated by their country or their government, and Russia has either taken the side of their government or those people, and together it's become a very big mess. Lots of arguing, of course. I mean, in that region that's common, but Russia has taken a big part in helping escalate this conflict without actually creating any more peace and without actually helping any of the sides on the arguments and the fighting. So with these ethnically different groups and these different countries in control, this all stems back to actually where Russia was in control of the region as the USSR. So Russia in this region, it's still, its prevalence in the region and its ideas and thoughts on each of these conflicts is not actually helping any of these conflicts. It's not actually solving the conflicts between the regions and the different groups of people. And it's actually just displaying Russia's military weakness. And last of all, we are talking about how Russia has shown this and what Russia should do in this situation. I think, personally, of course, this does not influence what Russia is going to do, and Russia will not leave the region, I'm sure, in the close future. Russia is clearly very deeply involved, but I don't think that what they're doing is peacekeeping. I don't think what they are doing is beneficial to any party. And I think that they are further fueling conflict between the parties who are trying to find an identity. And here we see that Russia cannot take themselves out of this picture. They cannot take themselves out of the equation where they should be taking themselves out, where they should be making those choices to not be involved, to let these countries figure them out themselves. Because sometimes, especially with complex conflicts and really diverse regions, such as the Middle East, especially this part of the Middle East, letting those countries solve the conflicts themselves can often be the best solution, especially when it is small regional and often ethnic conflicts between these countries and these groups. Because of the consistent conquering and this consistent changing of power in that region, it's created a very unstable relationship. And I don't think that Russia is helping this at all. This shows Russia's military weakness because Russia clearly hasn't been able to get control of the conflict in this region. Russia clearly hasn't been able to get what they want, and that is harmful for the Russian military, that is harmful for the region, and I think that Russia should take a step back from these conflicts. Thank you.
Okay, and your time there was 5:59.
Okay, thank you. Do you need me for anything else?
I don't believe so. Good luck with the rest of the
Thank you so
tournament.
much. Thank you for judging. I appreciate it.
Bye. So that was our last speaker, according to the schedule. And Caleb.
Yeah, so I was supposed to be in the first group one, but there was an issue with audio, so they had me do a new topic at 5.
Okay.
So,
okay. So does that mean that you are ready to go now?
yes.
Okay. Give me one moment. I'm gonna pull up my document. Okay, Caleb, before we start, I'll ask, would you like any hand signals for time while you're speaking?
No, thank you.
Okay. In that case, the floor is yours.
Well, Biden, if he wins, will be the first president in the past 40 years to come into the presidency without the Senate. Because of this, he won't be able to do much at all. He won't be able to pass any legislation. He will, in order to do anything with the Supreme Court, he would need the support of the House. Anything he does will really need Republican support, except for executive orders, which can be overturned with the next president. So the only real major thing that he can do has to do with foreign policy. And nobody is worse than Biden when it comes to foreign policy. Hi, my name is Caleb, and the question I'll be answering is, in the event of a Biden presidency, how will he handle things? He has failed every single major foreign policy issue in the past 47 years. And that has been verified with people within the administration of Obama. One of their executives came out and said that with every military decision, he has been wrong. And that includes the Iraqi war, which he supported when Bush went into the Iraq war, even though it ended up becoming a disaster. He was against Obama going and acting on Osama bin Laden until it was shown to be a massive success. So with the military, to expect him to do anything right would be really quite a shock. He is not an expert in that. He doesn't know how to handle that. Now, however, he has shown very good promise in what he plans to do with other aspects of foreign policy aside from military. That includes dealing with China. He says that he's going to push harder onto China with their handling of illegal practices that are against World Trade Organization laws. And he will be pushing to try and make sure that they follow through with these laws. The other aspect is dealing with the global trade and other nations, such as Europe. This is one where he should be doing a massive success in, as he will be closely working with European countries on issues of climate change and other aspects. Because of this, because of his policy natures that are very similar to a lot of Europeans, he is likely to be able to work well with them. So how I believe Biden will handle global foreign policy is he will not do very well with the military. That has already been shown over the past 47 years that he's been in politics. But with other global aspects, I believe that he'll be very successful with. Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb. Your time was 3:19. Well done. Sorry again for this mix-up, and thanks for your perseverance and tenacity in the face of our judging challenges. Good luck on the rest of the tournament. Thank you.
Thank you.
How did you feel you did?
Not well.
Just so you know, you're not mic'd, or you're okay. Folks that are still in the room, I'm going to go ahead and leave and go finish my ballots. We've had all of the speakers have presented that were scheduled to speak.
Hi there.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. What is your name?
I'm Logan Miller.
Hi, Logan. Nice to see you in here. I just want to go over the rules just one more time to make sure that I have them right, because I'm sure you've done this before. For this, your speech needs to be between 3 and 5 minutes. Is that correct? Or am I way off? Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure I have it right. Okay.
There's no
And-
minimum for this one, but the cap is 5.
Okay, okay, that's where I get the two confused. And just one more thing, I need to be keeping track of the time. Do you want me to put like a timer up to show you how much time you have left? I can do that with my phone, just to make it easy for you.
That'd be good.
Okay. Okay, great. I will get that started, and then whenever you're ready, I'll turn off my mic and we can begin.
Okay. Okay. Ready. Hats are extremely useless. I've hated hats from a very young age, and when I saw that topic on the list of words that I was given, I couldn't resist picking it. Hats, in my mind, have always been useless, and they always will be useless. Hi, I'm Miller, and I'm going to tell you why you should just stop wearing hats. I have 3 reasons to support myself today, and that is because they're unfunctional, unfashionable, and uncomfortable. For my first point, I said that hats are just unfunctional. If it's raining outside, then you probably would grab an umbrella. Here, it is really windy when it rains, so you just don't walk. You go walking with either an umbrella, or you get to from the rain. Hats will blow off in the wind, and they're extremely uncomfortable. You have to hold them down, which makes you even more miserable than just walking in the rain without a hat. And plus, what would happen even if you did? You might get sick, yes, but you just have wet hair after that. You already have a jacket covering the rest of your body. It doesn't matter after that. Hats are extremely unfunctional in that fashion. And that leads me right into my next point, which is that hats are unfashionable. Any sort of hat just looks weird to me. Sun hats just look too bulky. Bowl hats are just uncomfortable. Bucket hats are weird. And if you're wearing a snapback hat, you're either wearing it like a dad or you're wearing it like a Chad who's about to tell his girlfriend to stop dressing. You understand what I'm saying. It's just not a great look on anybody. Hats aren't comfortable either. Hats feel like they're squeezing the sides of your head for what? To push your hair back? That is why you have hair ties. Hats are extremely unfashionable, unfunctional, and uncomfortable. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to show you, you had 155, just so you know. All right.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Hello. You tell me, I figured out how to use the online timer. So let me know when you're ready and I'll get it started.
Okay. Wait, hold on 2 seconds. Okay, I'm ready. Yeah. I love Christmas lights. I love lights. I love Christmas lights in particular. They are bright and they're dazzling and they're beautiful. And my favorite tradition of the year is driving down that big road with the houses that just have their dangling Christmas lights and their beautiful Christmas decorations. And it just gives you that sense and that joy of Christmas. This is why I have Christmas lights in my room 24/7, 365 days a year. They remind me of my favorite time of the year, and they make my whole room more comfortable. Hello, my name is Yaatly Fielding, and today I'll be talking about Christmas lights. I'll be talking about the history of Christmas lights, where they are today, and why they will bring light in the pandemic. First, the history of Christmas lights. Christmas lights came from Christmas trees, and Christmas trees were actually originally a Germanic tradition, which the Christians saw and kind of stole. They took it and made it their own, and they started putting their own Christmas trees in their houses. The Christmas tree tradition was to just decorate this beautiful Christmas tree with the lights and the toys and the ornaments. And eventually people started taking those lights and they started putting them on the walls and they started putting them outside. And they started putting them everywhere so that not only their Christmas tree was glowing, but their whole house was glowing with the vibe of Christmas as well. Now, both of these traditions stuck. And as the Christmas tree tradition grew and the Christmas light tradition grew, they both became more modern and flashy, and until they had the red lights and the orange lights and the blue lights, and they're now it's the biggest tradition of the year to drive down that big street, like I said before, with just the flashy traditions, and it gives you the joy of Christmas. It's everyone's favorite tradition. Last year, I live in Skagway, and we just had this tiny little road with a couple lights, a couple big decorations. But last year, I was down in Sacramento for Christmas, and there was just a mile of beautiful Christmas decorations, and I think it was the best night of my life. It was the coolest decorations I've ever seen. And this is why I think that it'll bring joy in the pandemic. Not only are Christmas lights absolutely beautiful and stunning, but they are also a tradition which you can easily social distance with. You can hang up all your lights in your house and you can watch people drive by and look and say, that house is beautiful. That house is dressed up like Christmas. I hope that this year people will go and they will see these lights and it will give them the hope and it will give them the joy of Christmas that they might have missed out for so many other events because of the pandemic. And I hope that it'll make everybody much happier and give the feeling of Christmas. Okay, thank you.
I like your chemistry necklace.
Oh, thank you.
It's beautiful. Have a good time. Thank you so much.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, are you timing?
How many minutes is it?
You are doing extemporaneous commentary?
Yeah, I have a timer ready, but I don't remember how many minutes it is.
I believe it's 5.
Okay, I can time.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, when you're ready.
Okay. Hi, my name's Jocelyn, and I will be talking about my category is snow. Growing up in Alaska, we have had the opportunity to experience snow. And as a kid, there are just so many memories that you look back on, like sledding with your friends, building snowmen, snow days at school. I remember like we would build like these snow forts outside the school and during recess. And there's so many things like having hot chocolate and just so many things that go along with snow and what you think about as a kid. But as you grow up, when snow is mentioned that it's gonna snow, you get like disappointed, like, oh, I'm gonna have to shovel my driveway. I'm gonna have to my car might get stuck on the hill. And as a new driver now, you worry about getting stuck because I've never driven in the snow before. And it's not really something you can practice because you've never driven in the snow. Sure, your dad can tell you like what to do if you get stuck, but that's not really helpful because you don't actually know what to do if you're in that situation. And that's a scary thing for new drivers, and that's just one of the many things that gets you distracted on not liking the snow. But there's so many other things that you should still appreciate about the snow and have fun with going outside and the weather, especially living in Alaska. It's inevitable. And even though most of it gets washed and rained away because we live in Southeast, you should still appreciate it before it turns into slush and turns all brown from when the plows plow it off the road is like the worst part because it turns brown and gets slushy. And I remember every single year, me and my grandma as a kid, we would make snow ice cream, and you would use vanilla and milk and a few other ingredients I forgot, but I don't do that anymore because just growing up, but I remember doing that a lot as a little kid. And it's kind of sad to think back that they're just the ways that you interpret snow are completely different now growing up than the ways that you used to as a little kid. And I don't know many adults who appreciate the snow when they look at the weather forecast. My family is like kind of a snowmobiling family, so we like the snow because we get to go snowmobiling and go to the cabin, and it's like it's a family thing, and me and my brother go. But other than that, a lot of adults just get mad because they have to just shovel their driveway and it gets icy, and there's so many different things that are just not good to appreciate and kind of make your day like a little less good. But if you took the time to find a way to appreciate the little things about snow and go back to that, I feel like a lot of people could begin to like snow more. Okay, I think that's all I have.
And what was your time?
3:47.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, my ballot says that the next speaker in this round is Rachel Wood. So Rachel, I think you're in the room now. I am ready when you are.
Okay, I'll be ready in just a second, okay?
Okay, no hurries. Just please give me a heads up when you are ready.
Sure. Hi, sorry. My camera is at the bottom of my computer, so it might look a little weird, but I'm ready.
Okay, now I just need one more moment to pull up my ballot again.
Okay. Cool.
And Rachel, I'm not going to use the timer in Yaatly, but I'm happy to give you hand signals for time while you're speaking. Would you like any hand signals?
I don't think I'm gonna have a problem with time. This is the first debate I've ever done, so it's probably.
Okay.
But
in that case, I'll give you a hand signal if you reach 5 minutes, which is your time limit. Okay.
Okay. Are you ready? Okay. Travel is one of the most looked forward things. Travel is one of the most looked forward to things for the average person, and for good reason too, as it relieves stress, helps the economy, and it's a bonding experience for families. For those who have 9-to-5 jobs, things may get a little stressful working all the time. So traveling is one of those things that helps relieve that pent-up stress and anxiety from their jobs. Personally, my mom always becomes so happy right before she leaves on a trip because she knows that there she doesn't have to worry about anything except for which beach she should visit next. There are many businesses that depend on the tourism industry to survive, such as airline companies, restaurants, and hotels. For a strong and successful economy, there usually always has to be a tourism industry. So the next time you are arguing with your parents about whether to fly to the Bahamas for the next weekend or not, just say, it's good for the economy. Speaking of families, traveling also gives families some much needed time to bond and strengthen their relationships with one another. I know for a fact that without a vacation once a year, my brothers and I's relationship would be in shambles, as there's a lot of bonding between siblings when you are running around a hotel, ding-dong-ditching everyone and trying not to get caught. In conclusion, traveling is important to keeping away stress, helping businesses stay successful, and even strengthening your siblings' relationships. Overall, whether you like it or not, we need that once-a-year break from our tumultuous normality to really fully enjoy life. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Your time was 1:36.
Yeah, I was like, I knew I wouldn't have a problem with time. Okay, thank you.
A great job and good luck on the rest of the tournament.
Bye.
I just want to let everyone know that all of the people here in the room that we're just waiting for our next speaker who should arrive at 7. We're waiting for James Williams, who's the next person on my ballot. Hey, James Williams. It looks like you're taking the floor now. Excellent. I know it says that other speakers are ready, but Tessa, Henry, Darby, and Rachel have all already spoken. So you're up.
Sorry, I was having connectivity trouble. What did you say?
I just said that you are up, and I won't be using the timer in Yaatly. I'll be timing you from my phone. So if you would like time signals, I'm happy to give you hand signals if you would like.
Oh, yes, please. That would be awesome.
Okay. So what time signals would you like?
Down from 5.
Okay. Great. In that case,
Ready?
I'm ready when you are.
Okay. Hello, my name is James Williams, and I chose the topic dark. Now, specifically, I'll be talking about darker color clothing and fashion and how it projects on modern day teenagers' emotions. Now, as a peer to them, I wear darker colored clothing and I'm a teenager, but many of us don't open up about our feelings, and I want to take some of the first steps in sharing so that we can have an equal balance between us and adults so that we can help each other. Now, darker colors are often associated with negative feelings such as laziness, anger, sadness, etc. Teenagers often wear this not because of its fashion, but to project who they are and how they're feeling. Personally, I wear dark colors because it makes me feel more powerful, because it displays myself as a stronger person. Other teenagers might wear darker clothing to display themselves as sadder, to show how they're feeling. Now, as I've seen in many of my peers, their feelings are often associated with what they're wearing. Brighter colors or pastel colors show that they're feeling bubbly, they're feeling happy, they're feeling more down to earth. But darker colors, as I said, are often associated with negative feelings. Now, it doesn't have to be black specifically. It could be any color on the spectrum. But darker colors, as I said, were negative. But the specific color that is being used can display what they're feeling. Red is the color often associated with love and anger. So if someone is wearing red, they are usually feeling heartbroken or angry. But green is more of a down-to-earth color, and that is often associated with laziness. Pink is more of romantic, so that's often used with heartbreak as well. But the most common dark color used is black. That is used to show disparity, sadness, and anger. Black is a color that was often seen as a poorer choice. It wasn't as clean as other colors during Renaissance age. But as the time has gone on, black has become more popular to show that the person is sticking out from the rest, to show that the person differs from the normal. Now, I hope that this speech has helped you and anyone who's watching to understand teens' emotions and how they displayed in their clothing. Thank you. Thank you for judging.
Thank you. Your time was 2:55.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah. Good luck on the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
Hi. Are you ready to begin?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Hello. My name is Tristan Dahl, and today I'll be answering the question for you. With the public option, would Biden care be better than Obamacare? Now, I just first want to start off by bringing up what President-elect Biden said on his campaign website just a few months ago. His actual plan for healthcare is to build upon the Affordable Care Act. So when you ask, would Biden care be better with a public option than Obamacare? The fact is that Biden care is Obamacare, just with a public option. And when you ask, what does better mean? In my opinion, when they ask better in this situation, what they're really saying is this going to be more beneficial and is this going to be more popular for the citizens of the United States? And I would say, yes, that's true. If Biden does add a public option to Obamacare, that's going to fix one of the greatest problems and one of the largest criticisms that people who didn't like Obamacare had, that there was not enough options. You couldn't choose. When you were on Obamacare, you were on Obamacare, and you didn't have that public option that people really wanted. So I would say also it's important to remember that Biden initially made Obamacare 10 years ago, and he's coming back to it with a decade of more of experience. So when on his website, he says that, hey, the best option for Obamacare is to add a public option. He's saying that with 10 years of experience of watching Obamacare in action. That means a lot to me. He made it, he watched it, and now he's saying, this is how we can make it better. This is how we want to do it. But Joe Biden's also going to have to remember how to do this right. When they first passed Obamacare, they couldn't get enough votes from the Congress or the Senate to pass it just outright as a law. President Barack Obama had to ram it through with an executive order, and that's why it was so easily axed by Trump. If Joe Biden wants to make this a permanent solution for years to come, he's going to need to find the support to actually pass this into a law. So it can't just be repealed by the next Republican president that comes along. So in conclusion, Joe Biden needs to come to this with his decade of experience of watching Obamacare. He needs to add the public option, and he needs to do it right and get the right votes. And if he does that, he can knock this one right out of the park. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.